Hi, welcome back to my channel, God's Anointed Child. My name is Latoya. So big up to all my new followers, subscribers, you're welcome. So anyway, today I was led to do this topic on like all the great men that are in the Bible that has fallen because of women. And we grew up with that narrative that women, we are destructible when it comes to man and we lead man astray. But then as I grow older and I dive into the Bible, so like Samson, he was the strongest man, and at the end of the day there comes Delilah. You have Adam, he was the first man created by God, and there come Eve. And then you have now Solomon, which is the wisest man, and there come all these ladies and his wife and concubine. So I'm just gonna read in the book of First Kings. So I'm gonna read First Kings 11 verse 1 to 4, and then I will elaborate about it and let it show you that it's not actually women that is falling are causing these men to stumble, but it's actually their choice and the lust of the flesh and literally disobedience. So let's take it off that it's not us literally, but it's the spirit behind that is taking them down through women. So let me read. And so here I'm reading the Bible, and here we go. So First Kings 11 verse 1, it said, King Solomon, however, loved many foreign women beside Pharaoh's daughter, Moabites, Ammonites, Edomites, Sidonians, and the Hittites. They were from nation about which the Lord had told the Israelites, you must not intermarry with them, because they will surely turn your heart after their gods. Nevertheless, Solomon held fast in them in love. He had 700 wives of royal birth and 300 concubines, and his wife led him astray. As Solomon grew old, his wife turned his heart after other gods, and his heart was not fully devoted to the Lord his God, as the heart of David his father had been. So you see, it has nothing to do with is because of the woman. It's literally disobedient. They were told not to marry certain nations of women. He didn't care. So that's where disobedience come in. Secondly, it's lust of the flesh. He didn't even just have one Pharaoh's daughter. He literally had how much hundred thousands and how much concubine. You understand? That's something that is out of the will of God. And you see all of these great men in the Bible literally is disobedient, because at the end of the day, even Samson, the woman that he ended up dated or wanted to marry, those two women that he was pursuing, they weren't of the woman that the Lord want him to marry, and he literally followed his heart and his own desire. So we are strayed and lead astray by our own desire and lust of the flesh and of the eye. So if you're in obedience with the will of God, and your flesh is under subjection where your spirit is rise. That's why we do fasting. Fasting is not for God to give us the benefits, but for us to put the flesh. You understand? Because I learned that what you feed will grow. And if I feed my flesh with the word of God, and my spirit as well, because the flesh want to die, the flesh want all the worldly things, but like my spirit want the word of God. My spirit want everything that is godly and denounce everything that is worldly. So at the end of the day, they know the choice that they're making. They weren't babies, they weren't teenagers, they were adults, and they chose to date out of their nation a woman that is serving idols. So they know exactly literally that at any point you can't serve two masters. They know all this. They used to have like direct contact with God where they could hear his voice or have encounter. We literally has to stay on the word and trust the word of God, and and although we're trusting the word of God, it's working for us. We're still obedient. You understand? We're not disobedient. There's guys that is pursuing me and they don't have any form of godliness. I don't want such a person, and I said it already. You understand? Don't only come because you want to pursue me and because of me you want to pursue God. No, have a relationship with God for yourself and not because of me. So that's something that I stand tall on. If a man is not not serving the Most High God, literally living a God-fearing life, then that person and I will not give them audience. So that's just me. And like I said, a lot of people, they cannot contain the flesh because it's just like they feed it every day. They feel it with the lust of the eyes and what's going around. They don't care about any form of disease. They don't care about any form of sexual demons. They don't care about all these things. They don't want to learn. They don't want to read the Bible, and they don't want to be having accountable to their spirit to be under subjection. They don't want that. They don't want the word of God. They don't literally want to be in right standing with God. They just want to appease the flesh, and that's it. So at the end of the day, when they're saying this woman coming to do this to me, is woman, no, it's your flesh, it's your lust. If you are in your spirit, you will not be enticed. As I always say to my son, that you don't feed a fish chicken, you feed a fish worm. So is what the enemy see that you're feeding, that's what he will entice you with, and that's where you're drawn away. And then even if you're drawn away, you don't go to God and say, you know what, I fail, I slipped, so at the end of the day, let me come back to you, Lord. No, they just continue to stay in their sinful nature until their heart is snared and they don't want to have anything to do with God. So anyone that is drawn away by the lust of the flesh, and because of disobedience, and because they don't choose the word of God, and they don't want to live in an upright manner. So I'm not saying that it's easy. It's not easy, but I've been doing it for many years, and I know the things that will pull me away from God, and I know how to stay away from the things that will pull me away from the Most High God. I love Him. And when you love someone, you always try to please him and try to obey him. And that's the will that I choose God first and everything else behind. You understand? I've been where I was appeasing my flesh. It didn't bring me any peace and any form of happiness. I'm in a place where I have God totally. I have His peace. I have His joy. And I have His love. I have that straight communication with Him. I have Him as a friend, and that one that stick closer than a brother. So I'm just letting you know that all these great men that is in the Bible that you've been hearing that they stumble because of woman, no, they stumble because of their own lust, and they stumble because of their own disobedience to God and to themselves. So there's no way woman to be blamed for man eyes. And you understand, the Bible said if our eyes is going to make us sin, we should pluck it out. Whatever part of the body is going to make us sin, we must take it off. That's how much, you understand. And you can't, like, for example, can be sitting on your phone and be enticing a man and saying you're a born again, or be doing certain things and saying, oh no, you won't get straight. That's why He said flee from sexual immorality, not just play with it or slightly crawl away. You literally flee, because in no time that thing can take you over, because that's the devil and he's a liar. He doesn't play. You understand? That thing come to kill, steal and destroy, and it's just to destroy your soul and turn you away from God. And that's the enemy mission, to turn our heart away from God. So let's us hold our hearts steadfast on the Most High God, the creator of the heaven and the earth. Let us love on Him and give Him the praises due to His name. Do not be drawn away by the lust of the flesh. At the end of the day, it just when you go for the flesh, it's like a never ending thing. It just take you down into some things where you just like it's never ending. You will be doing so much perverted things because you're feeding the flesh, and the flesh is just like what I would say, you're just like a never ending thing of feeding the flesh. But when you feed the spirit, I'm telling you, it gives you this joy, this peace, and it bring you good luck, good tidings in. I'm telling you, wealth, health. It just you don't deteriorate, you flourish. When you feed the flesh, you deteriorate, you don't flourish. That what I would say, that light, that aura, you don't have it. You understand? But continue to live in the spirit and do away with the flesh and all the fleshy things. You understand? So that's my 2 cents on it. I can go deeper by reading in the book of Solomon, about Solomon and about Adam, and I can go about it, but I'm just saying, Samson was the strongest and Solomon was the wisest, and yet do you see their end? So anyway, if you like my content, click like, click share, and let me know how you enjoyed. Thank you guys.